Namaste and good morning. Beautiful Sunday morning in Chicago. It's almost like a summer weather here today. So let's start our Gita class with some mantras. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Gratitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshine Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayane Ambatuamanusandhame Bhagavad Gita Bhagaveshine Namo te Vyas Vishal Buddhe Pul Arvind Ayat Patra Netar येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान में प्रदीपः परपान पारे जाताये तोत्र वेद एक पाने ज्ञान मुद्राए कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगत्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथचला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्ये ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्था विकरण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तनी सो तीर्णा खलु पांडवै रन नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्स रोजमलम गीता अर्थगंधोटकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरिकथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन षटपदे रह पेपीमानम भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्तवे वेदै सांग पदक्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यान अवस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुसुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. Today is a Gita day and we are trying to understand the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yog. And we saw in this chapter how beautifully Lord Krishna is giving us an allegory of a tree, upside down tree, which is this sansara, this worldly existence, and how we keep on making this worldly existence denser and denser for ourselves, with our desires, with our vasanas, with our actions. And in the last verse where we ended our class last week, verse number 4 and 3, they go together. He says, we need to cut this firm-rooted tree, and it's a people tree. How can we cut it? With a strong axe of non-attachment. Ashvatham enam su virud moolam. So not just a virud, su virud. So it's so strong. Asang shastren dridena chitva. That's how important this non-attachment is. No wonder Lord Krishna has been talking about it from the beginning, non-attachment. Yesterday we were studying the Yoga Sutras. Rishi Patanjali said the same thing. Non-attachment, vairagya. But over here he is telling us how to do it too. He says that goal should be sought for. We can detach from this world only when we have that ultimate goal in our mind. Because if we don't know why we are doing this detachment or non-attachment, it's not well sustainable. And then he says, where having gone, none returns again. So that was verse number 3 and 4. Now this great teacher, great God incarnate, the yogi guru, he doesn't leave us just like that. He further explains what kind of adjustments we need to make, what kind of disciplines we need to follow, so that this axe of non-attachment is very strong. Axe should be made from the knowledge of the self. So let's look at in verse number 5, how he is taking us towards that. But again, the practice we have to do, no matter how competent a guru is, or how poor a guru is, work we have to do. So remember that. So there are 5 conditions which are explained in this verse number 5. Nirman moha, jit sang doshaha, adhyatma nitya, vinimrit kama, dvandai vimuktaha, sukh dukh sangye, gachanti amura padam avyam tat. Nirman moha, freedom from pride and delusion. Okay. Moh is the delusion, man is the pride, ni means freedom or free from. Let go of it. Jit sang doshaha, victorious over the evil of attachment. So he is calling this a evil. At least our ears and eyes should open. This is an evil to get attached to this worldly existence. Unless we think it's an evil or it's a poison, we are not going to let it go. So that's why he's using this very strong language for us. Adhyatma nitya, dwelling constantly in the self. We nivrit kamaha, desires completely retired. We nivrit kamaha. Dvandai, free from or the pairs of opposite, dvandai, from the pairs of opposites, vimukta, freed. So together it's a freed from the pairs of opposites. Dvandai vimukta. Sukh dukh sangye, such as pleasure and pain. How beautifully he is just keep on opening it for us. Gachanti, reach, amudaha, the undeluded. Padam, goal. Avyam, eternal. That means that. Free from pride and delusion. That is the first condition. Victorious over the evil of attachment. The second one. Dwelling constantly in the self. Not just morning and evening. We got to create a habit constantly. Never forgetting who you are. Desires having completely retired. Freed from the pairs of opposites, such as pleasure and pain. The undeluded reach that goal eternal. Ultimately, the philosophy, if it's not doable, it's no good to us. With the help of the philosophy, with the help of the sadhana, we should experience the promised goal. And this is what he's showing us over here. In our scriptures, we find a wealth of instructions. No matter which scripture we pick up, elaborate discussions are there on the theories of the perfection. They just don't only talk about it, they tell us in detail how to reach there. And this is a good example of this. 5 conditions. You can call them certain disciplines, you can call them adjustments, or you can say that re-education of the vehicles of life. These are vehicles of our life, our senses, our body, our mind, our intellect, our ego. Those are all vehicles, and we need to adjust them so that we can reach the divine experience and live a life enjoying a sense of supreme fulfillment. This is not attained after leaving from here. This can be attained while we are in this beautiful vehicle. Let's look at the first one, free from pride and delusion. Both of these qualities indicate a false exaggeration, estimation of ourselves to others. When we have erroneous estimate of our own importance, it's called pride. And what is the price we pay with that pride? Heavy responsibility upon ourselves to maintain that kind of a image. Pride. I'm better than you. Because if we have this pride, then there's no time to cultivate the character or to seek knowledge to move ahead. You're wasting energy in that superficial pride. And what is a delusion? Things and beings, happenings and situations in the world outside. That's a delusion. Delusion makes us live in our own imagination. We don't even judge the current problems, we just stay deluded. So that's why Lord Krishna mentioned the very first step is give up all pride, which is born out of ignorance. This delusion is an ignorance also. They go hand in hand. More the ignorance, the more the pride. That means a person is deluded. So that's why Lord Krishna, very first thing he says, free from pride and delusion, work on that. The second quality, the evil of attachment conquered. Jit sang dosha. When we seek our life's fulfillment only in the joys derived from our contacts with the sense objects in the world around us, that means we are just living only in the outer layer of our personality. And that's how we get extremely attached to the objects of the world. But once such attachment has grown, all the attention in life will be irresistibly turned towards those objects. Constantly we are worried about what I have gained, what I need to have. Objects and more objects. So Lord Krishna says, conquer this. Evil of attachment should be conquered. Don't waste your time, don't waste your power. The purpose of this life is to reach the divinity, not to accumulate and hold more. Third discipline, he says, adhyatma nitya, ever dwelling in the self. So when we can detach from the world of objects, only then we can attach ourselves to something nobler, something diviner. Otherwise, this mind of ours is always want to attach to something. Because that's the nature of a human mind and intellect equipment. It can exist only in the positive contemplation of the objects. It cannot remain in a void. So detach from the worldly objects, attach it to the self. Whether it's a God or the Guru or the divinity, whatever suits your personality. But the self, he says. Adhyatma nitya. Then fourth adjustment, he says, vi nivrit kamaha. Desires completely at rest. Vi nivrit. Desires, they are the function of the intellect. When the intellect desires, the mind starts contemplating upon the desired objects. That's why they say, as the desire, so the thoughts. If the desires are worldly, thoughts are worldly. If the desires are divine, thoughts are divine. So the intellect should be disciplined not to desire for the finite joys. Whenever we study the scriptures, whenever we listen to a guru, we understand that how important the Adhyatma Vidya is. These finite joys, they can never fulfill us. No matter how beautiful the objects of this world, they are only finite. So we have to end our worldly desires. Only then mind can become still. So that's why he says, we nivrit kama, completely at rest. Then the last condition in this verse, he says, released from the pairs of opposites like pleasure and pain. Dvande vimuktaha sukh dukha sange. When the body comes in contact with the sense object, it is the mind that comes to experience the final result of the contact as pleasure and pain. Once the mind starts recognizing this pair, then it is natural for it to revolt. Because mind doesn't want pain. Instinctively, it's a seeking for pleasure. Unfortunately, in this mad rush of seeking pleasure and pain, there is no stability. Constantly, we are just thinking that, will I get pleasure there? I'm going to go there. But if you don't get enough pleasure, you go somewhere else. Because we know that yesterday's pleasure can be a source of sorrow today. So that's why this verse is, Lord Krishna is concluding with a positive and a very optimistic declaration that the undeluded reach that goal eternal. Okay, so we don't want to stay deluded. With the help of this knowledge, we got to become undeluded. Gachanti amudaha padam avyam tatra. See how much knowledge we have gotten just from these two simple looking lines. And this language is simple too, actually. Anybody who knows Hindi or a little bit Sanskrit, easy to understand. But the sadhana we have to do for the rest of our life. Then again in the next verse, he is clearly specifying the goal for us because he doesn't want us to forget the goal. The problem is we forget the goal. We just get so mixed up with this pleasure and pain of this objective world, we forget our goal. That is the real problem. And these great yogi gurus, they keep on telling us, they keep on reminding us what the goal is. And this is what Lord Krishna is doing here in the verse number 6. Na tat bhasyate surya, na shashank na pavaka, yat gatva nirvante, tat dham paramam mama. Na means not, that means that. Surya, the sun. Shashank, the moon. Na pavaka, not fire. Pavak means fire. Yat means to which. Gatva, having gone. Na means not. Nirvatantehe, they return. Tat, that. Dham, abode. Paramam, supreme. Mama, mine. Nor does the sun shine there. Nor the moon. Nor fire. To which having gone, they return not. That is my supreme abode. So the glorious state of perfection is the goal which almost consistently Lord Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. Absolute perfect state. That's what he's describing. Nor sun, nor moon, nor fire illumine that. Is it dark over there? No. It's perfectly light. Perfectly divine. Doesn't need any object to give the light. Because on this earth, the sun is the source of light for us. Moon is the source of light at night. Fire also is the source of light for us, for the warmth and the heat. But he says over there, you don't even need any object. So nothing but divinity over there. This is, he's trying to make it clear for us. So don't think it's dark there. No. It's a self-effulgent. Without anything, it's just shining beautifully. The light of consciousness cannot be illumined by the sources of the gross light perceived in the world outside, such as the sun, the moon, or the fire. Fire is an object. Sun is an object. Moon is an object. He says, that is my supreme abode. This state of consciousness into which we can rise up when we can do the sadhana which he mentioned in the last verse. Or even right now, if we can just control the agitations of our mind and intellect, we should be able to feel this, the supreme beauty, the light which he is describing. Abode of the divine. Then the question comes into a student's mind. Is there not a risk of our falling back again into our present confusion and getting deluded by a finite, pain-ridden world of polarity? Lord Krishna removes that fear right away. He says, my supreme abode, to which having gone, none returns. Okay? This is the assurance he is giving. But remember that we have to do the sadhana though. We cannot just say that he should put his hand on our head. No, we got to do our part also. We know that in this world also, when somebody has mastered a knowledge, it's almost impossible for a person to make a mistake. Whether it's a speaking a language or playing a musical instrument or even riding a bike. Once you learn it, it stays with you. So I think is after reaching there, because that's an eternal place, you don't fall back. Death of this body is just like a longer sleep. Death is only a phenomena wherein a subtle body changes its physical equipment, its expression, and its expansion. It's not that after death, everybody reaches the infinite. Sometimes we just say that person has gone to God. No. God is everywhere. After letting go of the body, the subtle body is encasing the Atma, the Jivatma. It just goes according to the karmas to that place, then it comes back. That is a Vedic philosophy. Okay. But this eternal thing which is talking about, that when you just transcend that subtle body, you have transcend the causal body. The physical body, sure, it dropped down. You don't return back again. You have become one with the Ram. That's what he says, my abode. Wherein having gone, there is no return. No return. Now in the next verse, he's talking about the nature of the jiva. Verse number 7. Mamev anshaha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashasthane indriyani prakriti sathani karshati. Mam means my. Ev means even. Anshaha, portion. Jiva loke, in the world of life. Jiva having become a soul. Sanatanaha, eternal. Manashasthani, with the mind as a sixth. Indriyani, the sense organs of perception. And there are 5 of them. Indriyani. So that's why he said, sixth is the mind and 5 are the senses. Prakriti sathani, abiding in Prakriti. Karshati, draws. That means draws to itself. An eternal portion of myself. Having become a living soul in the world of life and abiding in Prakriti, draws to itself the 5 senses, with the mind as the sixth. So these are the vehicles, these are the powers. So a portion of myself. So the essence of us is a portion of God. Ansha. Mama eva ansha. If somebody says, where is it written that we are part of God? We should know that. If you cannot memorize the whole verse, chapter 15, verse number 7, open the Bhagavad Gita. Written very clearly there. The infinite has no parts. It cannot have any divisions. You cannot divide it. But you can always remember, just like we live in a house, even though it is a one house, but still the rooms are divided. There's a kitchen, there's a bathroom, there's a bedroom, there's a living room, family room, all kinds of rooms we have in one house. Drop down the walls is one. We are the one who have created these walls. Walls of me and mine. When we drop down that, we are part of God. We are all one. And as a Jivatma, what do? We attract these powers. This spark, which we call Jivatma, vibrates the entire body with life. Only then the existence is possible. Only then this living creature can be maintained. Mere presence of the Atma, these sense faculties and the mental capacities work. These are the faculties that belong to the matter, the Prakriti. But at the same time, these powers of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, etc., and also the feeling, thinking, etc., are not the powers of the sense organs, or even of the inner organs, the Antakaran. They are the expression of the soul. Because when the soul leaves, we know the eyes are still there, They cannot see it. Ears are still there, those instruments are there, but the power has left. So they function through matter, and it is said that along with the mind and the five senses abiding in the Prakriti, it functions. So this conditioned self is experienced as the limited ego, or we call it a Jiv Atma, and we call it a mortal because of our ignorance or error of judgment. See? But actually it's a portion of God. It's almost like an imaginary portion of the indivisible whole. So think about it, God cannot divide it. But we have just imagined that God got divided. And our delusion has gone to that level, and we even call some people, they have a great Atma and some have small Atma. Or we even use the word Duratma. God can never be divided. It's only the imaginary division. And when does the infinite draw these faculties around it? Let's do one more verse. Shariram yat avapnoti yat cha api atkramatihi ishvaraha grihitva etani sanyati vayu gandhan iv ashayat. This is verse number 8. Shariram, a body. Yat means when. Avapnoti, attains. Yat means when. Cha means and. Api also. Atkramati, leaves. Ishvaraha, the Lord. Grihitva, taking. Etani, these. Sanyati, goes. Vayu, the wind. Gandhan, the scent. Gandh, fragrance. Iv means as. Ashyat, from their seeds. Okay, so just like a seed of the flower. Okay, so when the Lord obtains a body, and when he leaves, he takes these and goes with them, as the wind takes the scents from their seeds, the flowers. In the garden you are there, and beautiful flowers, and wind comes, and the fragrance goes with the wind. This is what he's trying to tell us over here. So the phenomena of a transmigration of the soul is explained here. So the example given is of the breeze transferring the fragrance of flowers from place to place. So when the soul gets a new body, in every life, the mind continues journeying with it from past lifetimes. This explains why even people who are blind from birth can see dreams. Okay, so Antakaran travels with the soul. So when the Lord obtains a body, this Lord is the Jivatma he's talking about. Lord. So the Jiv takes to itself various bodies from time to time. We have had many bodies before. Male, female body. Maybe several animal bodies, bird bodies. Countless bodies we have had according to our own karmas. We go through different environments according to our own desires, our own attachments. I should say, according to our own burning desires and aspirations. From the moment the Jiva enters a body till it leaves it, it keeps these sense faculties and mental impressions at all times with itself. Subtle body includes all these. That's the subtle body. And at death, the subtle body departs from the gross body. And the gross body is left right. And we have all witnessed that. Dead body has no more sense faculty or mental ability or intellectual capacity. Cannot express itself. These expressions, which are all physical, mental, intellectual, they were there only because of the presence of the Atma. So at the time of death, the subtle body moves off, gathering into itself all faculties, just like a wind takes the fragrance. So this example is given just to clarify us. Okay, passing breeze takes the fragrance, and when the Jeev Atma goes, takes all of this, the subtle body and the causal body. So again, the subtle body is those four areas: mind, buddhi, chitta. Mind, intellect, the deeper part of the mind, chitta, and the ahankar, the ego. Actually, what is a mind if you look at it? Mind is nothing but a bundle of vasanas. That is mind. And these vasanas can exist only in the subtle body, not in the Atma. Okay, so in this verse over here, the Jeev is called the Lord, the Ishwar. And Ishwar to this particular vehicle, not the Ishwar to all the vehicles, only this particular individual personality. That's why it's called Purusha also. Puri means this body, Ish means the God. God of this body. Okay, the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. All of it. Okay. So the Lord of the body that orders, commands, and regulates all its actions, feelings, and thoughts. Just by mere presence of it. Mere presence. Just like a mere presence of the electricity, the bulb will give light. The mere presence. So this subtle body described so beautifully over here. But Lord Krishna doesn't stop it there. He wants us to understand it deeply and fully. So in the next verse also, he's further describing it for us. He says, Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha rasnam granam evcha adhishthaya manacha ayam vishyan upasevate. So more explanation that presiding over the ear, the eye, the touch, the taste, and the smell. Now all five senses is mentioning. And also the mind, which he said sixth before, he enjoys the sense objects. So we'll go through this verse starting next week. Okay, let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.